Captain Lee Dae-ho was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alarm rang through the space station. He put down his cup and ran to the control room. His hands were shaking as he read the message on the big screen. The message came from deep space. It was not from any human ship or colony. The computer said it came from something very far away, beyond any place humans had ever been. Lee Dae-ho had been a space captain for 20 years. He had seen many strange things among the stars, but nothing like this. The message was written in perfect Korean, then English, then every human language. Someone or something had studied humanity very carefully. "Captain, you need to see this," said his communications officer, Park Min-ji. She was young and smart, but her voice was full of fear. "The message is playing on every screen on Earth. Everyone is seeing it right now." Lee Dae-ho nodded and told her to play the message again. A voice spoke, but it did not sound human. It was cold and empty, like metal scraping against stone. "Greetings, humans of the planet Earth. We are the Galactic Council. We have watched your species for 100 of your years. We have seen your wars, your expansion into space, and your violent nature. You are a danger to the peaceful galaxy we have built." The message continued, and Lee Dae-ho felt his blood turn cold. "Your species must surrender completely. You will destroy all weapons. You will stop all space travel. You will accept our control. You have 72 hours to agree. If you refuse, we will destroy your planet and every human in the galaxy." The message ended with coordinates showing 12 massive ships at the edge of the solar system. The ships were so big they made Earth's moon look small. Lee Dae-ho immediately called Earth. The president, Choi Min-ho, was already in an emergency meeting with world leaders. Dr. Park So-jin, Earth's best alien expert, was trying to understand who these creatures were. "Captain Lee," President Choi's voice crackled through the radio. "Get back to Earth now. We need every ship and every captain for what comes next." As Lee Dae-ho's ship flew toward Earth, he thought about his family. His wife Yoon-hee was a teacher. His son Jae-min was only 10 years old. What kind of galaxy were they leaving for their children? On Earth, Dr. Park So-jin was working day and night. She had spent her whole life studying the possibility of alien life. Now that they were here, she wished they had never come. "These aliens call themselves the Galactic Council," she told the emergency meeting. "They seem to control many star systems. They have technology we can barely understand, but there is something strange about their message." Admiral Kim Tae-woo, the head of Earth Space Forces, leaned forward. "What do you mean, Doctor?" "They are afraid of us," Dr. Park So-jin said. "If they could simply destroy us, why give us a warning? Why give us time to choose? I think we are more dangerous to them than they want to admit." Admiral Kim Tae-woo looked at the reports from his scouts. Earth had 300 warships, but they were small and weak compared to the alien vessels. Humanity had only been traveling between stars for 50 years. These aliens had probably been doing it for thousands. "We have brave soldiers and good ships," Admiral Kim said, "but we are like ants fighting eagles. Maybe we should consider surrender." President Choi shook his head. "I have been getting calls from every country on Earth. I have been reading messages from our colonies on Mars and the Moon. Everyone is saying the same thing. We will not bow to these aliens." Dr. Park So-jin pulled up images of the alien ships on her computer. They were beautiful in a cold way, like ice sculptures, but she could see the weapons built into their hulls. Each ship could probably destroy a city. "Mr. President," she said, "maybe we can talk to them. Maybe we can prove that humans are not as violent as they think." "Doctor," said Admiral Kim, "did you hear their message? They have been watching us for 100 years. They know about our wars, our problems, everything we have done wrong. They have already decided we are guilty." Captain Lee Dae-ho arrived at Earth Defense Headquarters just as the second alien message came in. This time the voice was different. It was sharper, more angry. "Humans of Earth, we see your ships moving. We see your military forces gathering. This is not surrender. We are patient, but our patience has limits. You have 60 hours remaining." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The aliens were watching everything. They had technology that could see through space like it was glass. President Choi stood up slowly. He looked tired, like he had aged 10 years in one day. "Get me a connection to every television, radio, and computer on Earth. I need to speak to everyone." Within minutes, President Choi was talking to the entire human race. His voice was calm but strong. "My fellow humans," he began, "we face a choice that will decide the future of our species. Some might say we should surrender to save lives. Some might say we should fight even though we will probably lose. I cannot make this choice alone. This decision belongs to all of humanity." He paused and looked directly into the camera. But I will tell you what I believe. We came from caves and built cities. We came from walking and learned to fly. We came from one planet and reached for the stars. We did all of this because we never gave up when things looked impossible. Around the world, people watched their president with hope and fear in their hearts. These aliens say we are violent and dangerous. Maybe they are right. But we are violent in defense of freedom. We are dangerous to those who would make us slaves. If that makes us unfit for their galaxy, then we will build our own. President Choi's voice grew stronger. I call for a vote. Every adult human will decide. Surrender or fight. The choice is yours. The vote took 12 hours. When it was finished, the result was clear. 93% of humanity chose to fight. Admiral Kim Tae-woo received his orders that night. Prepare for war against an enemy they could not defeat. Captain Lee Dae-ho fueled his ship and checked his weapons. Dr. Park, So-jin worked on understanding alien technology from the few signals they had intercepted. President Choi sent the final message to the Galactic Council. It was short and simple. We reject your ultimatum. We will not surrender. If you want our planet, you will have to take it from us. We are humans. We do not kneel. The alien response came quickly. So be it. You have chosen extinction. But as Lee Dae-ho looked out at the stars, he felt something the aliens probably did not expect. He felt hope. Humans had always been at their best when things looked worst. The galaxy was about to learn what that really meant. The alien fleet moved toward Earth like a storm cloud made of metal and death. War Commander Vexthor stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the small blue planet through his viewing screen. He had destroyed 17 worlds before this one. Each time had been quick and clean. Commander, his aide reported, the humans have gathered their ships near the planet Neptune. They appear to be making their final stand there. Vexthor's 4 eyes glowed with amusement. His species had been conquering worlds for 3,000 years. These humans had barely left their home system. How many ships do they have? 247 combat vessels, sir. All of them are primitive by our standards. Most use chemical rockets and simple energy weapons. Vexthor nodded. The Council had given him 12 dreadnought ships and 300 support vessels. Each of his dreadnoughts was larger than the humans' biggest city. This would be over quickly. But near Neptune, Commander Yoon Ji-hai was not thinking about surrender. She was thinking about her daughter back on Earth. Little Subin was only 7 years old. She drew pictures of spaceships and dreamed of becoming a pilot like her mother. All ships, this is Commander Yoon, she spoke into her radio. We all know we are probably going to die today. But we are not dying for nothing. Every minute we fight is another minute for Earth to prepare. Every alien ship we destroy is one that cannot hurt our families. Her ship, the Defiance, was not the biggest or strongest in the human fleet. But it was fast, and engineer Han Seok-jin had filled it with surprises the aliens would not expect. Han Seok-jin had worked for 3 days straight without sleep. He had studied the alien signals and found something interesting. The aliens used very advanced technology, but they had forgotten how to fight dirty. Commander Yoon, he called from the engine room, remember what we talked about. When they get close, use the nuclear mines. They will not expect weapons that can hurt their own ships. The alien fleet approached slowly, like they were taking a walk in a park. Vexthor was confident this would be easy. The humans had old ships and weak weapons. What could they possibly do? All dreadnoughts open fire, Vexthor commanded. Destroy their ships quickly so we can move to the planet. Beams of pure energy shot through space toward the human fleet. 2 human ships exploded immediately. The aliens were right about one thing. Their weapons were much more powerful. But Commander Yoon had expected this. All ships scatter formation. Use the asteroids for cover. Remember the plan. The human ships spread out and hid behind chunks of rock and ice near Neptune. It was not a tactic the aliens expected. Civilized species fought in neat lines with honor and rules. Captain Bae Jun-ho commanded a small fighter ship called Wasp. He flew between the alien vessels, too small and fast for their big guns to hit easily. Behind him, he left small devices that looked like pieces of broken ship. The aliens ignored the debris. Why would they worry about human junk floating in space? They learned why when the first nuclear mine exploded against the hull of an alien dreadnought. The massive ship shook and its shields flickered. More mines exploded as other human ships left their deadly gifts behind. What are they doing? Vexthor demanded. These are not proper weapons. This is not how civilized beings fight. His aide looked confused. Sir, they are using crude explosive devices. Very dangerous and unpredictable. No advanced species would risk such weapons in space combat. But the mines were working. 3 alien ships had taken serious damage. One was leaking atmosphere and falling behind the fleet. Commander Yoon saw her chance. All ships target the damaged dreadnought. Everything we have. The human fleet focused their fire on the wounded alien ship. Individually, their weapons were weak. But together, firing at the same spot, they began to punch through the alien's armor. Lieutenant Kim Do-hyun piloted his ship Thunder straight at the alien dreadnought. His weapons were almost empty, but his ship was still full of fuel and explosives. "This is for Earth," he shouted and crashed his ship into the alien vessel's main engine. The explosion lit up the space around Neptune. When the light faded, the alien dreadnought was gone. The first council ship had been destroyed by humans. Stor stared at his screens in shock. In 3,000 years of conquest, only 5 council dreadnoughts had ever been lost in battle. Now these primitive humans had destroyed one in their first fight. "Impossible," he whispered. "They are savages with metal tubes and chemical explosives." "How did they—" "Sir," his aide interrupted, "they are attacking again. And, sir, they are not following any known battle tactics. The human ships were doing things no civilized species would try. They were ramming alien vessels. They were exploding their own ships to damage enemy targets. They were using their cargo holds as weapons, launching everything from nuclear warheads to chunks of metal at high speed. Captain Lee Dae-ho had filled his cargo hold with steel rods and was firing them like bullets. The aliens' shields could stop energy weapons, but they were not ready for simple metal moving very fast. "All ships retreat," Stor ordered. "Fall back to safe distance." Commander Yoon could not believe what she was hearing. The aliens were retreating. Her small fleet had made the mighty Galactic Council run away, but the victory came at a terrible cost. Half of the human ships were gone. Many good pilots would never see home again. Lieutenant Kim Do-hyun had given his life to prove that humans could fight back. As the alien fleet moved away from Neptune, Stor tried to understand what had happened. His species had fought many wars, but always against other civilized peoples who followed the rules of combat. These humans fought like wild animals, but with the intelligence to make it work. "Send a message to the council," he told his aide. "Tell them the humans are more dangerous than we thought. We will need more ships." Back near Neptune, Commander Yoon gathered the surviving human ships. They had won the first battle, but she knew it would not be the last. "All pilots, this is Commander Yoon," she said over the radio. "Today we proved that humans do not give up. We showed the galaxy that Earth will not die quietly, but this is just the beginning." Engineer Han Seok-jin was already working on new weapons. He had studied the wreckage of the alien ship and learned important things about their technology. The aliens were very advanced, but they had weaknesses too. "Commander," he reported, "I think I know how to hurt them better. Their ships are powerful, but they are not built for the kind of fighting we just did. They expect their enemies to be civilized." Admiral Kim Tae-woo received Commander Yoon's report back on Earth. The news was both good and bad. They had won a battle, but lost many ships. The aliens would come back with more forces. "How long do we have?" President Choi asked. "Maybe 2 weeks," Admiral Kim replied. "They will bring more ships this time. Maybe twice as many." Dr. Park So-jin had been listening to alien communications. She had learned to understand some of their language. "Mr. President, they are confused and angry. They expected us to surrender after the first attack. Now they do not know what to do." President Choi looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, his people had fought and died to buy Earth more time. He would not waste their sacrifice. "Admiral Kim, prepare our defenses. Dr. Park, keep studying their communications. Everyone else get ready. The aliens think they have seen what humans can do in battle. They have no idea what we are really capable of." The first battle was over, but the war was just beginning, and humanity was about to show the galaxy that underestimating humans was a deadly mistake. General Nam Hyun-woo stood in the deep tunnels under Seoul and smiled for the first time in weeks. Above his head, 300 feet of rock and steel separated him from the surface. Down here, humanity was preparing for the kind of war the aliens had never seen. "How many cities are ready?" he asked his aide. "Colonel Go Ye-jin." 47 major cities and over 200 smaller ones," she replied. "Every place with more than 50,000 people now has underground defenses." The mining companies worked day and night to dig the tunnels. Nam Hyun-woo nodded. When the aliens came back, they would find that Earth's cities had disappeared underground. Humanity had learned this lesson from ants. When facing a bigger enemy, you dig deep and strike from shadows. Dr. Shin Yoon-ji was working in a laboratory carved from solid rock. She had been Earth's best weapons scientist before the war. Now she was creating things that would have given her nightmares just months ago. "General Nam," she called out, "I need to show you something." She led him to a testing chamber where a strange device sat on a metal table. It looked like a box with wires and lights, nothing impressive. But Dr. Shin's eyes were bright with excitement. "This is an electromagnetic pulse bomb," she explained. "One of these can shut down alien electronics for several miles. Their ships and weapons depend on computers. Without them, they are just expensive metal." General Nam picked up the device carefully. "How many can you make?" "As many as you need. The materials are simple: copper wire, batteries, and basic electronics. Every city can build dozens of these." 3 weeks after the battle at Neptune, the alien fleet returned to Earth. War Commander Stor now had 30 dreadnought ships and over 1,000 smaller vessels. He was not going to underestimate the humans again. "Begin the ground assault," he ordered. "Land troops in every major human city. Capture their leaders and force them to surrender." The alien ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. Their weapons could level mountains, but Stor wanted to capture the planet, not destroy it. Dead worlds were worthless to the Council. But as the alien ships approached the cities, they found empty streets and silent buildings. Where were the millions of humans who should be running in fear? Captain Bae Junho crouched in a tunnel under what used to be downtown Tokyo. Through his periscope, he watched alien soldiers walking through the empty streets above. They looked confused and nervous. The aliens were tall and thin, with forearms and faces like angry insects. They carried weapons that could melt steel, but they moved carefully like they were afraid of what might be hiding in the shadows. "Team leaders, this is Captain Bae," he whispered into his radio. "Remember the plan. Let them spread out. Wait until they are separated from their ships. Then we hit them hard and fast." The alien soldiers entered the empty buildings, searching for humans. They did not know that under every building, tunnels connected to a network that stretched for hundreds of miles. They did not know that human eyes were watching them through hidden cameras. Lieutenant Park Min-soo waited in a subway tunnel with 20 other soldiers. They had been coal miners before the war, men who knew how to work in dark places underground. Now they were humanity's secret weapon. Above them, alien boots walked across the subway grating. Park Min-soo counted 12 soldiers. Exactly what they had expected. He pressed a button on his radio, sending a signal to teams across the city. All over Tokyo, steel grates exploded upward as humans burst from underground. The aliens found themselves surrounded by enemies they had not seen coming. Their advanced weapons were powerful, but hard to use in close combat inside buildings. Park Min-soo's team attacked the alien squad with simple weapons: knives, clubs, and small explosives. The aliens were stronger and faster, but they had never fought an enemy that appeared from nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. "Fall back to the tunnels." Park Min-soo shouted after his team had killed 3 aliens and wounded 2 more. The remaining aliens fired their weapons at the subway grates. But the humans were already gone, vanishing into passages the aliens did not know existed. This scene repeated across Earth. In New York, London, Beijing, and dozens of other cities, human fighters struck from underground and disappeared before the aliens could respond. It was like fighting ghosts that could kill. War Commander Stor watched reports flood in from the planet's surface. His ground forces were taking casualties, but they could not find the human army to fight properly. "Sir," his aide reported, "we have lost contact with 300 ground troops. They are not dead, but they are missing. The humans seem to have taken them." Stor's 4 eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, taken them?" "They disappear during attacks, sir. We find their weapons and equipment, but no bodies. It is like the planet is swallowing our soldiers." Down in the tunnels under Paris, Colonel Go Ye-jin was very busy. She led a special team whose job was to capture alien technology. Every alien weapon they took gave human scientists new ideas for fighting back. "This one is still alive," reported Sergeant Lim Sang-woo, pointing to an unconscious alien soldier. "Dr. Shin wants to study their biology. Maybe we can find weaknesses." Go Ye-jin nodded. The aliens were physically superior to humans in many ways, but they had soft spots too. Human doctors were learning exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage. She picked up the alien's weapon, a device that fired beams of concentrated energy. Human engineers were already working on copying the technology, but with human improvements. "Take everything back to the lab," she ordered. "Weapons, armor, communication devices. Everything we learn makes us stronger." The underground war continued for weeks. The aliens controlled the surface, but humans owned everything below ground. Alien patrols never knew when the street might explode beneath their feet, or when human fighters might appear from storm drains and building basements. Captain Kang Do-hyun led the space portion of the underground war. His small fighter ship Ghost was hidden in a cave on the moon. From there, he launched surprise attacks on alien supply ships. "Remember," he told his pilots, "we are not trying to win big battles. We are trying to make them afraid to fly alone. Every supply ship they lose makes their ground forces weaker." Kang Do-hyun's tactics were simple but effective. His small ships would hide among asteroids or behind planets, then strike fast at alien vessels that were far from the main fleet. Like the ground fighters, they appeared suddenly, caused damage, and disappeared. The psychological effect on the alien forces was worse than the physical damage. Soldiers who expected easy conquest found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. They began to fear every shadow, every empty building, every quiet street. Dr. Park So-jin had been studying captured alien communications equipment. She discovered something interesting about the alien psychology. "General Nam," she reported from her underground laboratory, "the aliens are starting to panic. Their reports back to the Council are full of fear and confusion. They have never fought an enemy like us." "What do you mean?" General Nam asked. "They are used to fighting other civilized species," Dr. Park explained. "When those species lose a battle, they surrender or retreat to fight another day. We do neither. We just disappear and keep fighting from places they cannot find." General Nam looked at the maps showing human tunnel networks under major cities. Every day the networks grew larger and more complex. Soon humans would be able to move unseen across entire continents. "How long can we keep this up?" he asked. Dr. Park smiled. "As long as we need to. The aliens have powerful technology, but they depend on supply lines and communication networks. We are cutting both. Every day they stay on Earth, they get weaker. Every day we stay hidden, we get stronger." Above ground, War Commander Vexthor was receiving pressure from the Council. The conquest of Earth was supposed to be finished weeks ago. Instead, his forces were trapped in a nightmare war against enemies they could not catch. "Sir," his aide reported, "we have received new orders from the Council. They want to know why we have not captured the human leadership yet." Vexthor looked at the reports from Earth's surface. His forces controlled every major city, but they had found no human leaders, no government buildings, no military headquarters. It was as if the entire human civilization had simply vanished underground. "Send this message to the Council," he said finally. "The humans are not fighting a conventional war. They have turned their entire planet into a fortress. We may need to reconsider our approach." But deep in the tunnels under Earth's cities, General Nam Hyun-woo was already planning the next phase of humanity's defense. The aliens had made a mistake by landing on Earth. Now they were trapped on a planet that had become humanity's greatest weapon. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the aliens arrived, humans were not just surviving. They were winning. 6 months into the war, Dr. Park So-jin made a discovery that changed everything. She sat in her underground laboratory, surrounded by captured alien technology and translated communications. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but she was more excited than she had been in years. "General Nam," she called into her radio, "you need to come here immediately. I have found something important." General Nam Hyun-woo arrived an hour later with Admiral Kim Tae-woo. They found Dr. Park standing in front of a wall covered with alien symbols and human translations. "What did you find, Doctor?" Admiral Kim asked. Dr. Park pointed to a series of alien messages she had decoded. "I have been studying their psychology for months. The aliens who rule the Council have not fought a real war in over 1,000 years. They have become soft and weak." "Explain," General Nam said. "Every species they conquered before us surrendered quickly or was destroyed completely. They have never faced an enemy that refuses to give up. Look at these messages from their home worlds." She showed them translations of alien communications. The messages revealed fear, confusion, and something humans had not expected: political problems within the Council itself. "Some Council species are questioning whether this war is worth fighting," Dr. Park explained. "They are losing ships and soldiers to conquer one small planet. Other species are starting to wonder if the Council is as powerful as it claims. Admiral Kim leaned forward. Are you saying the Council might have enemies? I am saying the Council rules through fear, Dr. Park replied. If that fear disappears, their empire could fall apart. And we are making that fear disappear by proving they can be defeated. This news gave human leaders a new idea. Instead of just defending Earth, they could go on the attack. If they could weaken the Council's power, other alien species might rebel. Chief Engineer Lim Sang-woo had been working day and night to reverse engineer alien technology. His team had built something amazing, human ships that could travel faster than light, using improved versions of alien engines. Admiral Kim, he reported, we now have 12 ships capable of interstellar flight. They are not as advanced as alien vessels, but they are much harder to detect. Admiral Kim studied the new ships. They were small and fast, built for surprise attacks rather than direct combat, perfect for what he had in mind. We are going to take this war to their territory, he announced. If they want to attack our homes, we will attack theirs. The first human interstellar attack was led by Colonel Jang Woo-jin. His target was a mining world called Kepler 442b, where the Council used slave labor from a peaceful species called the Gentle Ones. Remember, Colonel Jang told his team as their ship approached the alien world, we are not just fighting for Earth anymore. We are fighting for everyone the Council has enslaved. The mining world was lightly defended. The Council had never needed strong defenses because no one had ever attacked them before. Colonel Jang's small fleet struck fast and hard, destroying the orbital defense stations before they could send a warning. On the planet's surface, the Gentle Ones looked like large, furry bears with intelligent eyes. They had been forced to dig rare metals from dangerous mines for over 2 centuries. When human soldiers appeared, the aliens were afraid at first. We are here to help you, Colonel Jang said through a translator device Dr. Park had built. We are enemies of the Council. We want to set you free. The leader of the Gentle Ones, an old female named Softpaw, stared at the human soldiers in amazement. You came from outside the Council's territory. How is that possible? We are humans from Earth, Colonel Jang explained. The Council tried to conquer us. We said no. Softpaw's eyes grew wide. You refused the Council? And you are still alive? We are still fighting, Colonel Jang corrected. And now we are here to help you fight too. The liberation of Kepler 442b sent shockwaves through the Council Empire. For the first time in 1,000 years, one of their worlds had been attacked by an outside force. The news spread to other enslaved species throughout the galaxy. Ambassador No Soo-bin had been secretly communicating with alien species who were unhappy with Council rule. She worked from a hidden base on the far side of Earth's moon, sending messages to rebels across the galaxy. This is Ambassador No of Earth, she broadcast on hidden frequencies. We know many of you have suffered under Council control. We offer you something they never have, partnership instead of slavery. The response surprised everyone. Within weeks, No Soo-bin was receiving secret messages from dozens of alien species. Some had been enslaved like the Gentle Ones. Others were forced to pay heavy taxes to the Council. All of them were tired of being ruled by fear. A species called the Swift Flyers were excellent pilots who had been forced to serve in the Council fleet. Their leader, Wing Commander Sharp Talon, sent a coded message to Earth. We have watched your war with great interest, the message said. Many of us would rather fight beside humans than serve the Council. If you can guarantee our freedom, we will help you. Similar messages came from other species. The Rock Shapers were master engineers. The Deep Swimmers knew how to hide in space. The Star Singers had advanced communication technology. Dr. Park So-jin realized what was happening. The Council's empire is held together by fear and force. By proving they can be defeated, we are giving hope to everyone they have oppressed. Back on Earth, the underground war continued. But now humans were not just defending. They were learning and growing stronger. Captain Kang Do-hyun had trained 100 new pilots in hit-and-run tactics. His small fleet was causing serious damage to alien supply lines. Every supply ship we destroy makes their ground forces weaker, he reported to Admiral Kim. They are having trouble keeping their soldiers fed and equipped. The Borin 130 psychological warfare was working too. Alien soldiers on Earth were becoming more afraid and less effective. They knew that humans could appear anywhere at any time. Many alien patrols refused to leave their bases except in large groups. War Commander Vexthor was facing the worst crisis of his career. Half of his ground forces were trapped on Earth, fighting an enemy they could not defeat. His supply lines were under constant attack, and now he was getting reports that human forces were active in other parts of the galaxy. "Sir," his aide reported, "the Council is demanding to know why we have not achieved victory yet. They are also asking about reports of human attacks on Council territory." Vexthor knew his career was probably over, but he was more worried about something else. The humans had done something no species had managed in 1,000 years. They had made the Council look weak. "Send this message to the Council," he said finally. "The humans are not like other species we have conquered. They fight with a fury and determination we have never encountered. They would rather die than surrender. And now they are inspiring rebellion throughout our empire." On Earth, President Choi Min-ho received a report that filled him with hope and pride. Human forces had liberated 3 more Council worlds. 12 alien species had secretly joined the human alliance. And most importantly, the Council fleet around Earth was getting smaller as ships were called away to deal with rebellions elsewhere. "We are not just surviving anymore," he announced to the world. "We are winning. And we are not winning just for Earth. We are winning for every species that wants to be free." Dr. Shin Yoonji had developed new weapons using a combination of human and alien technology. Her latest creation was a missile that could punch through the strongest alien shields. "We have learned something the Council forgot," she told General Nam. "Sometimes the old ways work better than the new ways. Our primitive nuclear weapons combined with their advanced targeting systems create something neither of us could build alone." The war was entering a new phase. Humanity had survived the Council's attempt at conquest. They had turned Earth into an unconquerable fortress. They had taken the fight to the enemy's territory, and now they were leading a galactic rebellion that could free hundreds of enslaved species. But the biggest battle was still to come. The Council would not give up easily. They had ruled the galaxy for too long to accept defeat from a species they considered primitive. However, they had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated what humans could accomplish when they refused to surrender. And that mistake was about to cost them everything they had built. The final battle began with a surprise that shocked both humans and aliens. Admiral Kim Tae-woo stood on the bridge of Earth's new flagship, Indomitable Spirit, watching as the largest Council fleet ever assembled approached Earth. Over 100 massive dreadnoughts filled space around the planet. But Admiral Kim was not afraid. In the past year, humanity had learned many things about war, politics, and the power of hope. Today they would use all of those lessons. "Admiral," reported Captain Lee Dae-ho from his position as fleet commander, "we have 50 human ships ready for battle. But sir, we also have something else." On his screen, Admiral Kim saw ships approaching from the outer solar system. They were not human designs, but they were not attacking either. These were vessels belonging to the Swift Flyers, the Rock Shapers, and a dozen other alien species who had joined the rebellion. "This is Wing Commander Sharp Talon of the Swift Flyer fleet," came a voice over the radio. "We stand with humanity against the Council tyranny." War Commander Vexthor stared at his viewing screens in disbelief. Nearly half of the ships approaching Earth were crewed by species that had served the Council for centuries. Now they were fighting against it. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These species have been loyal to the Council for generations." His aide checked the communications.
"Sir, we are receiving surrender demands from the rebels."
"They say the Council's time is over. They want us to surrender to them." Captain Lee Dae-ho had been preparing for this moment for months. His ship carried Dr. Shin Yoonji's most powerful weapons, built with technology from a dozen different alien species who had joined the human alliance. "All ships, this is Captain Lee," he broadcast to the combined human and alien fleet. "Today we do not fight for conquest. We fight so that every species in the galaxy can choose their own destiny." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was not just humans fighting aliens or even rebels fighting the Council. It was a war between two ideas, the old way of ruling through fear, and the new way of leading through cooperation. Commander Yoonji Hai, now in charge of Earth's orbital defenses, watched as Council ships tried to break through to attack the planet, but the combined rebel fleet was ready for them. "Fire at will," she ordered. "Protect our home." The space around Earth lit up with energy beams and explosions. But this time, humans were not fighting alone. Swift flyer ships moved like dancers between the massive dreadnoughts, too fast for the heavy weapons to hit. Rock-shaper vessels used their advanced shields to protect smaller human. Ship's engineer Han Seok-jin had worked with alien scientists to create something new. Weapons that combined the best of many different technologies. When human ships fired these hybrid weapons, even Council dreadnoughts took serious damage, but the real surprise came when 3 entire Council dreadnought fleets suddenly stopped fighting and turned their weapons on their former allies. "This is Fleet Admiral Ironclaw of the Hunter. Species," came a new voice over the communications. "We have served the Council for 800 years. Today we choose freedom." War Commander Vexthor realized his empire was falling apart around him. Species that had been loyal to the Council were switching sides in the middle of the battle. The rebellion was not just winning, it was growing larger with every minute. "All remaining loyal ships," he ordered desperately, "retreat to the outer system. We must regroup." But Captain Kang Do-hyun and his improved fleet of fast attack ships were waiting for them. His pilots had learned every trick of space combat in the past year. The retreating Council ships found themselves under attack from all directions. "This is Captain Kang to all rebel forces," he announced. "The Council fleet is broken. They are trying to escape, but we will not let them." The battle ended not with a great explosion, but with a moment of silence. Across the solar system, the surviving Council ships simply stopped fighting. Their crews had realized something that War Commander Vexthor was still trying to understand. The war was over, and they had lost. President Choi Min-ho spoke to the galaxy from his office in Seoul. The speech was broadcast on every frequency. In every alien language Dr. Park So-jin had learned to translate. "People of the galaxy," he began, "today marks the end of the Council's rule and the beginning of something new. We did not fight this war to become your new masters. We fought so that every species could be free to choose its own path." Dr. Park So-jin had spent months planning what would come after the war. She knew that destroying the Council was only the first step. Building something better would be much harder. "We propose the creation of the Galactic Commonwealth," she announced to the gathering of rebel species. "Not an empire ruled by one group, but a partnership where all members have an equal voice." The response was immediate and enthusiastic. Species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves working together to build a new future. The Gentle Ones offered their knowledge of mining and agriculture. The Star Singers shared their advanced communication technology. The Deep Swimmers taught others how to explore dangerous regions of space. General Nam Hyun-woo oversaw the transformation of Earth's military from a desperate defense force into the peacekeeping arm of the new Commonwealth. But the focus had completely changed. "We will never again use our military to conquer others," he announced to his officers. "Our job is to protect all member species from anyone who would make them slaves." The former Council species were given a choice: join the Commonwealth as equals, or leave to find their own destiny elsewhere. Most chose to stay and help build the new galaxy. War Commander Vexthor was put on trial for his crimes, but the punishment was not death. Instead, he was sentenced to spend 10 years helping rebuild the worlds the Council had damaged. He would learn what it meant to create instead of destroy. Engineer Han Seok-jin became the head of the Commonwealth's technology sharing program. His job was to make sure that advances in science and engineering were shared freely among all member species, not hoarded by the powerful. The Council failed because they kept knowledge as a weapon, he explained to new Commonwealth engineers from dozens of different species. "We will succeed because we share knowledge as a gift." Dr. Shin Yoon-ji transformed her weapons laboratory into a research center focused on peaceful uses of technology. The same energy that had powered warship cannons now provided clean power for cities. The materials developed for armor became the foundation for building homes on harsh worlds. Captain Lee Dae-ho was appointed as the first human representative to the Commonwealth Council. His job was to make sure that humanity's voice was heard, but also to listen to the needs of other species. "We learned something important during the war," he said at his first council meeting. "When different species work together, we can accomplish things none of us could do alone." Ambassador No Soo-bin established the Commonwealth Diplomatic Service. Her team included humans and aliens working together to prevent conflicts before they could become wars. "The old galaxy was ruled by fear," she explained to her diverse staff. "The new galaxy will be built on trust and cooperation." 1 year after the final battle, Earth looked very different. The planet was still scarred from the war, but it was healing. More importantly, It had become the capital of something unprecedented in galactic history, a government based on consent rather than conquest. The first Commonwealth Academy opened on Earth, welcoming students from over 50 different species. They came to learn not just science and technology, but also the human concepts of democracy, individual rights, and peaceful cooperation. Young swift flyer pilots learned to fly alongside human cadets. Rock shaper engineers worked with human scientists to design better cities. Gentle ones taught farming techniques that could feed growing populations without damaging the environment. President Choi Min-ho's final act as Earth's leader was to sign the Commonwealth Charter, officially making humanity just one member among many in the new galactic government. He was elected as the Commonwealth's first president, not because humans had conquered the galaxy, but because other species trusted human leadership. In his inaugural speech, he spoke words that would be remembered for generations. We came from one small planet and dreamed of reaching the stars. We never imagined we would help the stars reach each other. Dr. Park So-jin, now the Commonwealth's chief scientist, made a discovery that symbolized the new age. In studying the ruins of the old council capital, she found evidence that the original council had started with the same dream of cooperation that drove the Commonwealth. They forgot that power must serve people, not rule them, she wrote in her report. We must never make the same mistake. The galaxy had learned an important lesson from humanity's example. When people are given a choice between freedom and slavery, they will always choose freedom. When they are offered partnership instead of domination, they will choose to work together. Earth remained humanity's home, but it had become something more, a symbol that even the smallest and weakest could stand up to tyranny and win. Children from hundreds of different species learned the story of how humans answered the Council's demand for surrender with a single word: never. And in the vast spaces between the stars, where once the Council's warships had patrolled with weapons ready, Commonwealth explorers now travel,